Mayhem. Welcome to Let the Mayhem Begin with myself, Groovy. Got Italy Jet Gino in the house. We got Matty.
Story of the season. It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written. Brilliant response. Liverpool lead early in the Champions League final.
And he's in behind with Igor giving chase to the Genoa off his line in the 90th minute.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
Oh, it's been a long time since we heard that intro, man. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute, man. I missed you, boys. Welcome back to Let the Mayhem Begin here on Sportsmag UK. Apologies for the injury timeout that we all kind of went on through over the winter. It's an extended winter break that we took. I think we'll put that down to.
Go with that.
Good
There's
to
been
speak
a lot
to you.
of fixture congestion. It's been
There's been a little
sick.
It's been rough. Definition of injury prone right here. So yeah, man. But no, look, boys, how are we doing? I'm loving life as a football fan. Gary, Gary, I don't even want to talk to you this episode. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna be such a smug.
I'm just gonna sit here in the middle on mute, just kind of smiling and just letting you guys.
Do you know how you doing, man?
Oh, fuck this shit, bro. Seriously. Honestly. Well, I mean, there's pros and cons. It's just how it's gonna be. I just don't want to go down because it's looking like if we don't turn it together soon, we're gonna go down.
It can be that bad.
Listen, I don't worry.
Man United are going down before West Ham.
Listen, I do believe. Oh, that's funny. I do believe that we're gonna be okay because we got all of our injury guys back except our two forwards. But we got Ferguson now. I just don't want Potter to keep experimenting.
Can't believe you got him from
Stop experimenting. Like, go with your gut now. That's what I'm done with. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. It's just we just got to turn it around, though. That's it. That's it. Matty, what's up?
It's not happening for him yet, right? Is it? Potter hasn't quite. Hasn't quite found his first.
I love him though.
No, his main 11 though, right?
Well, he put Paquetá at the top. Like, what are you doing? What's going on?
That bit I didn't get. When you've got Ferguson, who was on fire for Brighton last year when he was kind of getting a run of games. And when he came on, he turned your game. I mean, he looked like, you guys had a centre forward to target.
Or Prowse, who came in and looked beautiful, Yeah. But right now, he's just figuring out his lineup, and I'm done with that, but it's okay. We're going to be fine.
Yeah, I get how you're feeling. Like, I guess experimenting when it's kind of this late into the season must feel probably pretty scary. But at the same time, you guys are going
10 points clear. Okay. I mean, you're 10 points clear of the guys at the bottom.
Yeah, there are some pretty stinky teams down there. I think you guys are going to be fine. But I get it. If I was in your situation, I would 100% be the same. Like, I feel like, until you know you are safe, right? Until you know it is done.
Right.
It's always going to be some level of stress. And, it's all well and good other fan bases being like, calm down, you'll be fine. But until you know you are fine. Yeah.
So you start getting a few greens in that sort of, column in your last, looking at your last six. It's a lot of reds. So you start getting a couple of greens in there, then you'll start feeling better.
Facts. And I'm just waiting for the greens.
Yeah. Speaking of a team that's been having some greens, Bournemouth recently have been absolutely tearing it up.
Yeah, let's talk about
Bournemouth.
I mean,
Matty's like, anybody but Chelsea. Anybody but Chelsea.
No, we've done well. I like Bournemouth. Love Bournemouth. Have always had the utmost respect for Bournemouth. Anyone that pulls up clips of previous me, that's obviously AI. You're lying.
Obviously not been true. Right.
Yeah, no, love Bournemouth. I mean, I don't know. I'm finding this season so weirdly refreshing. Like, just trying not to pay attention to my team. It's so cool being like Forest is still in third, Bournemouth are now fifth. Like, even Fulham in 8th. And I mean, Villa are 9th behind them. Like, I think this season, this table is kind of fun. Like, it's kind of been nice that City have been so dreadful, and like Arsenal have been falling over themselves, and Chelsea haven't been that great. And it's been so actually nice and refreshing to just see so many other teams like up there and actually having a go at these, these big like powerhouse teams. I don't know if that's maybe just me, but I've genuinely quite enjoyed the kind of chaos that this season has brought, in the fact that it just feels like this season is a lot more like equal. Maybe I feel like other than Liverpool looking pretty comfortable, it feels like there's a lot of teams on kind of very level footings when maybe they shouldn't be.
Yeah,
there's pros and cons. I said there's pros and cons. I think, since my team has sucked when I thought we should be in Europe, that's the con. But the pro is it's nice to see other teams being successful. I can't remember a time when in the Premier League where other teams have been so successful like this. Maybe since Leicester, or maybe Brighton too. Maybe. Like there's normally like Aston Villa, but now it's kind of spread around, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I feel like there's always normally like one team that kind of goes above and beyond, right? Like it was Villa last year, and then the year before that, it was like Newcastle, kind of always in the top 4.
Agreed.
There's always like one team that's kind of breaking in, but I feel like this year is just pure chaos. Like,
yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
It's exciting. I mean, my concern, and I've loved it, and it's been great looking at the league table and going Forest in there and City in there, not being in there, and Bournemouth being in. But, you look at it now and you're like, okay, there's only 13 games left, 13 games left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly you're starting to see, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea. Is it going to end up being, after a season of like mix-ups and everything else and teams overextending themselves, will Forest be able to stay there, or will they get swallowed up by City and Chelsea as they start to kind of eke out those? And so the top 4 ends up being the usual top 4, which will be disappointing after the season with Forest and everybody kind of mixing things up a bit. It would be a shame if the top 4 ended up being, a standard top 4 result.
It's going to change again next year, boys, whatever happens. So this is kind of like, this is kind of, okay. You know how we, for the last 2 years, have said like, this is a fluke, because then you got the World Cup, and then you've had the Euros, and then you have the AFCON Cup, and then you got the Asian Cup. It's like it's a fluke every year. I don't think this is going to be a fluke every year anymore. I think there's legit competition with every single team. And the way, I guess we can say, the VAR has come into play with this year, it's just going to keep getting more interesting.
But like, in a way, I feel like, I don't know if this is just maybe me really enjoying this.
It usually is, Matty.
Yeah,
probably. It's just you. Yeah.
But I kind of love it, because I mean it very much points out the shortcomings of a club that hasn't been run great, like Chelsea. I mean, admittedly we're better this season, but we're still 6th. When there is this much chaos, like we should be better than that. Bearing in mind, a couple of months ago, there's me like, oh yeah, like, I don't think we're in a title race right now, but we are sat 2nd, and that is something, right? To be a couple of months down the road and now be shockingly sick, or like, this is such an exposing season for Man United. Normally they can kind of get away with being pretty shockingly run. Yeah, Tottenham as well. And normally they can kind of get away with it and brush it under the carpet. But when you've got years like this that are so chaotic and so many teams are on a level footing, it really does kind of, bring a lot
shines
out
that
of the woodwork. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I jokingly said, at the beginning, if West Ham don't turn it around, they're going to be in that relegation battle. But the current form of Man United, they are on like a stinking run of form. They do not look like a team at all. They could, and I know they're on, what are they on, 29 points, and Ipswich are on 17. They probably might be just about out of it, but
to only be 12 points above it, by the way,
12 points above relegation, and all it takes is Ipswich to win three games, and then that could get really tasty down the bottom there. And I can't see United getting out of that, because they just look.
Yeah, but I still think the Wolves are going down, though.
Yeah, they're not going to get caught up in it, but I feel like this United team is so bad, so bad. I mean, I even watched United Tottenham the other day, and I thought, well, even though these teams are both pretty awful, like it's one of those games you kind of just bank on to deliver, right? Yeah, like even when Chelsea have been on a really down year, I know when Chelsea play Tottenham, it's gonna just be a good game. Like Chelsea will just turn up for absolutely no reason other than to ruin Tottenham's day. Like it's just one of those games. And just watching it, it was the most, I don't even know how to describe it. It was the most, this is 14th versus 15th. Like both teams were just so poor. I mean, I know Tottenham obviously ended up getting the job done, and I'm sure we'll talk about them a lot more later, but it was so poor. Like so bad. If you literally did not pay attention to the names on the scoreboard, it would have meant nothing, and someone would be like, "Why is this a primetime game that's getting like no competition?"
Yeah.
Like, it was rough.
Yeah, and Crystal Palace and Tottenham, I think are still gonna. I think they're safe now. I think Everton is going to be safe. I seriously think
they've been on now,
I think overall now it's going to be. I still think West Ham is going to be good, even though I am fear of a relegation battle like we've been experiencing for the last couple of years. But I think overall, if you look at Man United and Wolves, I think I'd rather have my situation. People coming back from injury, just put the right lineup in, and you've seen what Potter's done with West Ham already because he's still figuring it out. So I think if it's going to be any battle right now, it's definitely going to be Ipswich, Wolves, and United at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, can we just take a minute and talk about Everton's absolutely, stratospheric?
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised. Moyes in his first year with any new club he's been on has bailed them out. Has bailed any team out.
He's only lost one game in the last 6. He's gone from, that team have gone from dire relegation to, like, as you say, probably safe now. 13 points clear of relegation. I would say they're probably safe.
Yeah. I mean, all you need is what 33 points, maybe 35.
Yeah,
6 points, and then you're safe.
Yeah.
33 I mean, obviously, 36 points, right?
As the top of the table teams' point totals have got higher, obviously safety, the kind of bar has just kept getting lower and lower, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think I literally read something that since David Moyes has retaken charge of Everton, literally no one in the league has picked up more points. And I obviously know that's not how league tables work and stuff. But if the league had started from the point where David Moyes took over Everton, again, fully aware that's not how league tables work, Everton would be top. Consider how we've been talking about them.
That's what they would be doing.
Yeah, and like considering how we've been talking about them literally all season, that's an incredible job by Davy Moyes. Incredible.
Literally,
he's made Beto look like a new player. Like this was a man I kind of
made him look like a centre forward. Where's that?
Yeah, I forgot this man even played for Everton. Like he's just another number at that team. But my God, what a job this man is doing. I mean, fair cop to the guy.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Big shout out to Tom Leeds taking back
they won.
Snatching a late win tonight to go back to the top of the championship.
Good for them.
Yeah, looks like they might be back in the big time next year.
I think so.
The Premier League's a better place with teams like Leeds in it. I'd just like to chuck that one out there. But I think so. Leeds are massive, mate.
Leeds are huge. Leeds are a huge club. They are the epitome of a huge club. They've got to. I mean,
Gino's like, nah.
I don't know. I like more teams better than. Listen, yes, the history, I get it, and my friend Tom, I get that. He's about to go all over me.
He's about to open a can of whoop ass on you right now.
For me, I like more teams there in the championship that were in the Premier League right now. But,
Super Frank's getting Coventry up. I'm telling you, it's happening.
What'd you say?
Super Frank is getting Coventry up. I tell you,
that's hilarious.
He took him over when they were like 1 point clear of relegation, and now they're like 5 off a playoff position or something. Anyway, I feel like we need to do a championship episode at some point. That'd be wild.
At some point we do, because they're going to be coming in. But yeah, no. As I say, I think the Premier League would be better off with Leeds back in the Premier League. They are.
Oh, you're going for history, yeah. I do agree.
Yeah, just for the size.
But I just like
the Leeds Bradford giant metropolitan area. There really is just one team.
Yeah.
I suppose Bradford's in there somewhere.
The fan base there, I do agree. Yeah. I do agree. I just, as a fan of Premier League football, Championship, all that, I do like other teams there that I wish were in the Premier League more than Leeds. But the fan base of the Leeds and how much they're just so damn popular all over the world. Yes, it is massive. I do agree with you on that. Yes.
There we go. There you go, Tom. You got
there
the flowers for tonight.
We got something. Yeah, that's okay.
Right. Whew. Anyway, now we've kind of bounced around a bit. Where do we want to start?
I mean, we got to start at the freaking top. To be
start
fair,
at the top.
I mean, it wasn't there like a 6:30 a.m. a really early game.
It was
my time. It
was an early kickoff on after the midweek controversial draw, shall we call it that, before we start delving into the final Merseyside derby at Everton's old ground.
Where literally every man and his dog got sent off. Yeah,
every man and his dog got. Yeah, you get a card in. You get a card in. It was literally Michael Oliver doing an Oprah.
Is that not genuinely though the most perfect send off of the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park? Like even obviously, I know
they won the championship.
I'm sure you're gonna. Yeah, but. Okay, this. Sorry, I'm about to go off on a rant here.
No, go for it. I want to hear.
No, Matty going off on a rant.
Yeah, it does.
I love it. I love it.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like people are really beefing Everton for as massively celebrating as they did. I absolutely love it. Like, could you imagine? Okay, if the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. And Liverpool had won it. That would be just another thing that Liverpool would have to like dangle in front of Everton and be like, haha, we did it. I know they only clinched a draw. And in reality, that's not that big. But in theory, that could potentially put a dent in your massive City rivals' title hopes. For the record, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Liverpool are going to be fine. But it could do that. And it means that Liverpool don't get to hang that thing over you. I think this is what football's about. It's a 98th minute goal to stop.
Not only is it 98th minute goal, but it's a 98th minute worldy volley top
belter from the least suspected player. Yeah, come on now.
I mean, that part of it was amazing, drama and everything else. I agree. There couldn't
football
have been
heritage, mate. That's what football
there could not
is
have been
about.
A better send off. For Goodison Park. It was amazing. Obviously, the Michael Oliver thing, the fact there was a massive free kick push right in the middle of that goal that was completely overlooked. And he gave fouls for that all game, but yet somehow getting an absolute, blatant shove from the defender and sending him 3 yards away from where he was heading the ball was overlooked by VAR, and everyone went, yeah, that's fine. And then the mayhem at the end where everyone just got a red card because it was red card heaven. It's bizarre. It was a bizarre end, but I mean, you could not have expected anything else.
Was Arne Slot sent off in that game as well? Was
yes,
it?
Arne Slot was sent off. Yes. The assistant manager was sent off. Yes. Curtis Jones was sent off. Decore was sent off. It's just like everybody just got a red card at the end.
Unreal. That's what you want from a derby. That's a proper derby game. That is. That's a proper derby. Michael.
That's an interesting one. I didn't even realise that happened.
Gino, this feels like maybe something that
you would feels like maybe one for you, buddy. Yeah. New football league to rival the MLS.
League, ALS to rival.
Is that like the NFC and the AFC? Are they going to merge and become? Is that the American Soccer League?
It's kind of. It's going in that direction. Yes, kind of. So for me, I kind of like it because I think since you're not going to do relegation, since there's not enough teams. I think MLS, since it's been getting bigger and bigger, I think they do need a new. I think they need something new, and I think this is for me. I like the green light. For me, I think this is going to be good. I'm not really an MLS follower fan of that anymore, but I have heard of this. I do know people that podcast about this, have friends that talk about it, and I do see their views on it, and I do agree with them. So for me, I think it's a good idea. For me,
is it like a feeder league, or is it going to be a competitive?
No, it's not a feeder league. It's competitive.
Is it going to be like when Vince McMahon released XFL? Is that what we got going on right now?
No, nothing. I don't think it's nothing like that. But then again, I would have to look more into it. I thought it was competition. I thought
so surely it won't play at the same time as the MLS season, will it? Because I mean, in the nicest possible way, the MLS is fighting so many sports in the US.
Correct.
The last thing it needs is another league to come along and
I feel like the US sports calendar is stressful, man. There's just something always on, like all the time.
Well, that's because baseball lasts for like 9 months. That's probably why. Yeah.
Because each team plays
175 games or something. Yeah.
I would, Michael, if you come back on next week, I will do more research about this and give you a better opinion of just my light over opinion.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm also you've piqued my interest now. I want to read into this.
I need to read more.
It's a rabbit hole that Matty's going to end up going down. He's going to turn up next week with an ASL shirt on already.
Yeah, he is. No, it's true. It's true. It's true.
Sorry, Matty, but he's like Matty's already searching the Fanatics group.
Yeah, sorry, don't mind me wearing my Baltimore Boys shirt. Yeah, this is my new team now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But anyway, so results of last weekend. Where do we start? Saturday? Right, let's start Saturday. There wasn't a game
good.
Friday.
Let's ignore the Friday game. Good. Yeah,
because there wasn't a game on Valentine's Day.
Do you know, I'm so done. Of course, it had to be Brighton as well. We lost them in the bloody.
Mid-Toma's on fire right now, though.
We've literally paid this club roughly £500 million for either coaching staff or players.
Or managers.
I'm so done with it. And then they knock us out of the cup.
Aren't you still paying Potter as your manager?
Probably.
So we actually took a couple of your coaches too that followed him. We had to buy him out to go to Chelsea, to go to West Ham.
Clear Lake, if you are watching, you're a joke.
So it's been quite the adventure.
It has been. So, we pay them all this money, steal all their people, and then they knock us out of the FA Cup and twat us in the league. So, yes, Friday was going well. On to the Saturday games. That sounds good.
Right.
Moving swiftly on from Valentine's Day and the massacre that was 3-0 to Brighton. Had to get Valentine's Day and massacre in. Had to do that. Saturday, any results kind of stand out to you other than the City's spanking Newcastle, which is concerning.
Very out of left field. Was not expecting that one, considering literally last week, as in the week before, City got spanked by Arsenal.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming at all. Is that them on the bounce back, or is that just a bad? And looked at on Match of the Day, it looked like an off day for Newcastle. They looked dreadfully bad. They just couldn't defend. They didn't know what they were doing. So I think it might just be an anomaly, one of those bounce backs that you say, because City got handed, a result from Arsenal, and then suddenly to bounce back after the 4-0 win over Newcastle, who have been flying, which is quite surprising, that result.
I mean, fair play. I was leader of the Pep is washed campaign, and it turns out I don't think he is. No, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of impressive, but I also just feel like City have done what City do, and they've just spent their way out of another hole, haven't they? I mean, coming from a Chelsea fan.
Are we talking about
from Chelsea?
I was going to say, you can't talk at all.
No, we just spend our way further into the hole.
No, we haven't bought anybody in.
Yeah, are you sure?
You bought Chelsea we just buy a bigger shovel and just dig ourselves further in the hole. We like life in the hole.
You'll love this. You'll love this one, Gino. Apparently, the news over in the story over here is Chelsea, rather than spend 600 billion to update Stamford Bridge, are going 600 million. But they're going to spend 1.2 billion pounds, putting a new stadium about 20 minutes up the road at Earl's Court. So spending twice as much money.
Listen.
Almost as much as we've spent on our absolutely star-studded squad, by the way. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this. So I'm doing this as a New York Jets. I'm comparing this to the New York Jets. Our ownership.
Oh, that's when you know it's bad. Jesus Christ.
No. It's literally compared to that. I'm dead serious. Our owner is so bad to where this is not. It's going in direction of what the New York Jets could be, because now we have to sell a bunch of players. You're going to see Kudos probably gone. Mm-hmm. Our ticket prices have gone up. Concessions have gone up. And they're already requesting season tickets already now. There's a 2 to 5% bump up. We have to renew our stadium. And we need to update our stadium. So there's so many things that are going on right now where I can't talk because it's just going to be bad.
Hang on, we'll go into that. But don't you share your stadium with the Giants?
The G-Men.
So surely you're splitting that with them, the cost of.
It's one of those things where I don't care anymore. But
it'll end up being the city of New York will end up paying for it for some bizarre.
They will.
Weird thing that's like American and NFL teams make billions of dollars a year, but yet somehow get the municipal kind of.
They're trying to move it back to New York, but it's not going to happen. I don't think they're going to move it back to New York.
Anyway.
But that's the thing about West Ham though. Like they have that stadium is so bad. It was built for the Olympics. It's not built for football. It's not.
I know it wasn't, but then again, you took it for peanuts. It was spent.
I agree.
It was a public spending nightmare. We spent billions making that as like the home of the Olympics for 2012, and then you guys came in and went, "Hey, we'll give you peanuts and a stipend and like $20 a month to pay for it."
And
like,
okay. Sucks for everybody, according to other people that I know that go.
Oh yeah, it's a horrid stadium for football because you're so far away from the pitch and
exactly
because of running track and all that sort of stuff.
Tottenham wanted that ground as well, right? Am I making that up? Was it about?
No, everyone wanted it because it was literally a free ground, basically. It was a free
Man United
stadium.
won it, so their home fan attendance would be up.
Yep.
Come on, we got to get that.
Little dig at the mighty Red United. We're going to smash United all night.
Oh yes,
it's not going to happen.
But no.
Anyways.
We're getting so sidetracked. This
I don't know.
Okay. Were we talking about Man City and Newcastle? Is that what you guys were talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the result that we that was the highlight.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, guys. I mean, the new signings making an impact against the Newcastle team that's not really.
As Matty says, trouble again.
They're just in trouble again.
I equally just feel like Newcastle are probably just looking at, the Carabao Cup final they've got and probably just thinking, we could literally lose every league game from now until the end of the season. But if we take that trophy back to Newcastle, this team will be heroes. The end of. Like, literally.
But that's where it's going, though. That's where it's going.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
I found the Arsenal-Leicester game pretty interesting. Just quickly wrap this one up because I found this quite a frustrating game. I know Arsenal ended up winning.
Me
but
too.
Leicester was so, genuinely so competitive in this game.
I agree, 100%.
It's so frustrating to watch things like this because I feel like it's not that it's necessarily easy to get yourself G'd up for a game against a good Arsenal team. Obviously, that's always kind of worrying based on just league position. But it's like, if you literally played like that every single week, you cannot tell me that you would be in nearly the hole that you're in right now. I get that it's frustrating watching it as a third party. I bet for Leicester fans, this must be even more annoying. But yeah, I just found that such an interesting game. I know Arsenal are obviously having some injury issues and stuff, so that's maybe going to help Leicester be competitive. But if they just play like that all year long,
it's only that Arsenal already be struggling with a striker.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got pretty much everybody else. They just don't have anyone to score the goals.
Well, and Saka, I guess that's a big loss for them, I suppose.
Saka going was their big loss for them because he was their goal scorer and sort of main creator and everything went through.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that suffered the most. Is they're creatively they're massively down, but it feels so frustrating. I can't imagine how Leicester fans must feel. How annoying must it be watching a performance like that? Being how can we do this against second in the league Arsenal, but we can't do it against these other teams around us?
And that's the
Merino
problem,
right there too.
Yeah. This guy.
Yes.
Where have they pulled him from? Apparently.
No. He was really good in Spain. That's how he was great with Dortmund, and then he kicked ass in Spain.
Yes, but he's a defensive midfielder. What's he doing up front?
I know, but then they put him in, and now he looks natural. It's like they're desperate too for a number 9. So it worked out.
This is literally you're playing FIFA. It's the 95th minute, and you've got a corner.
Shove the big lad up
who's my tallest players? Yeah, just stick Fellaini up top. That's fine.
That was it. It was David Moyes get Fellaini up front. That was it.
Oh,
hello. I know. See, this is when we need DJ in the comments to back up his Arsenal because
Here we go.
There we go.
Anyway. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Tom.
I'm not going to talk about ref screwing anybody over right now.
Is that Don Robbie in the comments? Let's calm down.
Oh no, I have a lot to complain about the refs for my game. So
brother, everybody does. Refereeing is awful.
Right now it is. All right, what's next?
I suppose the Fulham Forest result, not that much of a surprise. Fulham are a good team. After watching the highlights, it was surprising it was only 2-1 because they were pretty dominant. Forest look a little rattled, a little shaky, maybe starting to look over their shoulders a little bit. I don't know. They were outplayed by Fulham, and it was a game where Adama Traore suddenly reminded everyone of just how good Adama Traore can be. But the problem is he'll disappear for the rest of the season. He'll have this one game, and it's like literally tears it up.
Forest have honestly got to be like one of the strangest teams in the league. Lose to Bournemouth 5-0.
Right.
You think,
right.
Oh well, maybe they're finished then. And then they play Brighton and just pick up a cheeky 7-0 win.
7-0 win,
and then lose to Fulham. I don't understand this team. I don't understand. Very strange. Very strange.
We'll come back to that, Michael, in terms of helping teams come up. It's an interesting one.
I feel like we're noticing a bit of a worrying trend, especially if the relegation battle continues as is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting in terms of helping them. I'm not sure. The ones that I think deserves a little bit of help, the ones who win the playoffs, the ones who come up automatically should have prepared for it. It's the ones who come through the playoffs who have little to no chance of strengthening because by the time the playoff wins comes through and whatever else, they're 2 months down the line and they didn't realise.
I never thought about that, but that's actually quite a good point. They do have a lot less time because, it's all well and good saying we'll start doing a preparation, but then what if you go and spend loads of money, then lose the playoff final? Yeah, then
you're completely in financial struggle. But then again, if they come up, most teams come up and go, hey, we'll play in the Premier League for 1 year because that 1 year in the Premier League with the attendance and the money and the TV and then the parachute payments you get for being in the Premier League for 1 year.
Yeah, prep to go back
more
down.
Than helpful. You go back down, they get. I think they get £30 million as a parachute payment after you get relegated. So I don't think there's any more that we could do for them apart from maybe, as I say, helping out the playoffs. The team, they only 2 or 3 weeks, I suppose. So maybe I thought it was longer, but I'm guessing it's the top two tend to be done and dusted quite early in the playoff picture. For example,
all prep time is good time, Tom. All prep time. But yeah, it's hard. I feel like especially it does certainly feel like the gap between the Championship and the Prem has never been bigger. This Southampton team that came up were a really good competitive team. I mean, look at what's happened to them this year. They've been absolutely decimated. It's been rough. I mean, at least Leicester and Ipswich are, still in touching distance, but even that is only realistically with Wolves, right? It feels like the rest of the teams have kind of pulled away and given themselves that buffer.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there is a conversation to be had. I feel like recently promoted teams used to be a lot closer. It definitely feels like over the last couple of years, like last year with all 3 newly promoted teams going down and it looking like it could very well happen again this year. There's definitely a conversation to be had because it feels like that gap is only going to get bigger.
But my counter to that is the teams that have come up have continued to play the way they played in the Championship. Whereas historically, what would happen is you came up from the Championship and you maybe played beautiful football and wiped the floor with other Championship teams. Every team would come up and go first season in the Premier League, go long, old school football, tight, very defensive minded, don't be open, don't try and play football, literally kick everyone up and down the pitch as much as you can, sneak whatever you can get out of this fight tooth and nail. Some of the teams have come up from the Championship and gone, hey, we're going to play lovely, pretty football, and get absolutely battered.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. I agree with Gary and I agree with Tom in the chat. I'm more agree with you two on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's valid. Okay. Brighton, yes, are a ridiculously well-run club, and Fulham and Brentford are also doing this. Not just getting a little bit brave here because Peaches isn't here right now, but I'm going to go for it. Forest, I do have a mild issue with Forest, just because I don't know if we've all kind of forgotten this. Forest did kind of break the financial rules and seem to have just tanked the point reduction they got last year and are now reaping the benefits. So is that the new strategy? Do you just overspend more than you should do, tank the points, and then just be like, yeah, but that's fine because we're set up for next year because we've signed like
we're all good.
35 players. Yeah. Again, I'm fully aware how ridiculous this sounds coming from a Chelsea fan. I know. I don't want to hear it. I know. Our team is stupid. I know. Just, send it all to my Instagram. That's fine. But I'm just saying. But yes, the other three teams, all very good points. They're very well run football teams. Not the Forest aren't. I'm just saying. Let's move on before I get punched in the face.
That's touchy. That's touchy. Because then
we'll clip that for Peaches. Don't worry.
Oh God.
And Tom agrees with you as well. They chose them over. It was kind of given the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. I see more Matty's point on this one though.
Yeah, I'm with him. I mean, it's controversial sort of. It's the thing that nobody's talking about, but it's right there. It's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
It is the elephant in the room.
You guys
it is weird because I really want to be happy for us because I think what they're doing is incredible. And I guess if the current spending rules weren't what they were, it wouldn't even be a topic. We'd all just be happy and for us doing. And again, not that I'm not detracting from them at all because as Chelsea have proven. Just spending your way to success does not guarantee success. It obviously does not. So clearly the framework is there and they are building something. So I'm not just saying this third place isn't warranted at all. They're absolutely doing the work. So I just want to say I'm not I'm not fully raining on this.
No, I mean, but I can say the same thing about West Ham too. I mean, that's the thing. I can say the same thing about West Ham, but I think it's proven that. With the injuries we've had and all spending we've done, it hasn't come together at all. It's coaching now, and it is the financial fair play. So I agree. I agree with you, Matty.
And anyway, speaking of financial fair play, should we just throw it back to Man City? And what the frick happened to those 115 charges? Because they're obviously not going to get anything. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone out.
Have they won their case? I'm assuming.
Well,
I don't think they have won their case yet. I haven't heard anything from it.
It's not been. The only thing that was announced was that the courts kind of agreed with one of the counter arguments that City had, but the case hasn't been heard or
130 now, according to that's what Tom
So there's
said.
more charges, but they've just gone out and spent $120 million and whatever it was they've just spent on 4 new players to get them out of the rut that they were in.
It kind of feels like the Haaland contract, though. Yeah, you wouldn't do that if you thought you were going.
You thought you were going to get smacked with a penalty and a points deduction. And anyway, Haaland's injury, is he out? Oh, was it bad? I haven't heard anything about it, but it certainly looked like he might have done a knee.
It's a knee, but I don't know how bad it is. I don't know.
What else? What else brings to mind the results of the weekend? Palace losing away to Everton, or Everton going to Palace and winning. Not that surprising.
Great game though. But man, just honestly, from Everton, this doesn't surprise me what Moyes is doing. But like Everton is still battling and still in, just like them two. It's just like Everton. I think it was a great all-around game. And I think, just like Matty said before, I forgot Beato was even in the freaking Premier League. Last I saw him was with Udinese from Italy. So
that's what I mean. I feel like they kind of signed him, and then it never really happened, and I'd kind of just forgot he was there. And now all of a sudden, Moyes has just turned this man into an absolute baller.
Yeah.
Right, going in. Let's talk about the London derby that happened at the weekend then. Brentford crossing across from west to east London.
Like happy noises, happy noises.
Yeah. I didn't like the lineup, but I understand why he did because he had a bunch of injuries that are back. on the bench. You could definitely tell Ward-Prowse and Ferguson were the difference makers. I did not like the reffing in this game. I think the VAR got a couple things wrong. Very good from Areola to get back on those 2 saves, but that definitely was a goal. And our defense definitely lacked. Like they just lacked. Kudos is getting worse and worse. That wide open net they should have scored, bullet right over the thing. I'm like, dude, you could do that in your sleep. And he just
it was like 5 yards out or something, and you just skied it from it. Just
it's so frustrating. It's like we don't even have an identity out there right now. I'm not blaming Potter for the players. I'm blaming the experimenting a little bit. Because I wouldn't put Paquetá at your number 9 or your number 10. I wouldn't put him up there at all.
That's what gets me about that one is like Potter knows Ferguson from Brighton.
Yeah,
so he knows.
Maybe he's just trying, and he's coming off an injury. We got to remember that he is coming off an injury. But I still didn't like the line. And Brentford just honestly, it was such a close game. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So.
It was a typical derby game. It was an arm wrestle, tough game for both sides.
But overall, there's pros and cons with this game, and I just hope that next week is better.
That's all you can as a football fan. All you can.
Yeah, but it's
also,
not.
That Brentford away kit is hideous.
There's another London derby, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a rough potential fixture next week.
so it's a good one coming down the line for you boys. And then Sunday's game, obviously Tottenham. We talked about getting the win over United in a
horrible teams, basically.
2 horrible teams.
Yeah, they did.
Horrible game.
That's what I mean. Other than literally the names, it was the most 14th versus 15th game I've ever watched in my life.
If the names would have been different and you looked at that, you would have thought. And this is no disrespect, but it's you were thinking you would have probably been watching a derby versus Notts County game or something.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of interesting things I think though is like, again, I don't know if it's just I know both teams have got injuries, and to be fair, Tottenham have started having players come back. I know, but. The one thing I would say is this game probably does prove Ange's point. Like James Maddison has been out injured. He comes back, wins the game for them. I don't know. That maybe says something. But did you see the state of United's bench? By the way,
dreadful. It was the youngest bench ever, wasn't it, or something?
The only senior player was Victor Lindelof, and the rest of them were teenagers, right? Was it something like that?
And then he didn't even bother putting any of them on until like the 93rd minute or something. It was just like,
yeah, but I mean, I guess if you're only senior player on that team on that bench as a centre back and you need a goal, like what?
Why put the 16-year-olds on there? You know.
Well, I suppose that's
a
good question. Yeah.
If you're losing in the 85th minute, what's the worst that's going to happen? Right?
Yeah, the first teamers have not been getting the job done. What is the worst that's going to happen by chucking an 18-year-old on you? But yeah, I mean, God, like that's probably a nice win for Tottenham. I guess maybe
it actually puts Tottenham like mid-table.
Yeah, they're mid-table right now. Yeah,
get in,
which is weird. It's like it's such a weird sort of, as you say, it's such a weird league and a weird sort of teams are all over the place.
It really felt like whoever lost that game, there was going to be a lot of talk about them. And I mean, like, where do United go from here? I mean, so they're both still in the Europa League, right? So that could be a Europa League final, and Jesus Christ, I hope it's not. I cannot watch that game.
If it is, we do apologise for the rest of Europe.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, we apologise.
I cannot watch that football game again.
That would be true. That would be dire.
Oh,
it's gonna be bad.
I
think Michael is right.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
I think Son. Yeah, losing Harry Kane. Yeah, selling him to Bayern or him leaving to Bayern, and he's scoring goals for fun over there. Shock horror. But he's gone. Son has been poor.
He has not been on it this season. Yeah,
he's just not. I don't know if his head's been turned or he's missing his buddy or whatever it is, but he's just not been the player that he used to be or they need him to be. Injuries have played a part, but then everybody's got injuries.
In this league. Big time.
It's a bit of a tricky one. Yes, Maddison comes back and wins the game, but one player does not make a team, or shouldn't.
That he does not. No.
But but yeah, just a dreadful couple of teams who have no form, no confidence.
Yeah, which probably plays a lot into it as well, right? Because I mean that was a bad game of football, but looking at least like the starting 11s, those starting 11s are better than what they produced on the pitch. Obviously, football is very much a confidence game, right? Like we know this. Like you can have a team full of absolute stars, but if they're in a bad patch of form, it's going to look awful. So the quality was there, but I think you could just tell it just looked like two teams that just had such a rough season. And it looks like
pressure
they both
was building
cannot wait for it to be over. Yeah, like
that's true though.
And nobody wanted to, nobody's first touch was good. Nobody could like make a sensible pass or anything. It was like you could feel the pressure on both sides.
Yeah,
just playing on both teams, and Tottenham, they got the win, but some of their defending was, I wouldn't even say schoolboy, because it was even worse than that.
It's the most expensive defense in the whole league too.
And it's
actually. Oh my god!
No, it is. It's the most expensive defense in the entire league.
Wow,
it's terrible.
Yeah, right behind them is Arsenal, then Liverpool, and then because remember, Man City, they sold Walker now. Sorry, no.
Yeah, who's absolutely who's getting roasted in Italy, by the way. Every time I've seen anything about Kyle Walker since he went to Italy, is that he's getting pulled at half time because he's just rubbish.
Valid.
Valid. Absolutely.
There is a lot of dross in the league this year. I will not stand up for that.
It's true.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why this season, but it just been a bad season. I don't know if it's as we say, it's a knock-on effect of the World Cups and the Euros and all that sort of stuff. And
I think it has a little bit to do with that, but not the entire thing. But it's a little bit. It's a little bit though.
I think it's just one of them funny years. Like you mentioned earlier, it just feels very much like that year that Leicester won the league. Like it just feels like everyone is kind of off it. Like
Brighton and Aston Villa, like making the Europa.
Like Forest being third. What's going on with that? Like what I mean? It just feels like there's Bournemouth fifth. There's just so much. And like I guess like I said earlier, the chaos is kind of nice, but equally it does kind of highlight that there is a lot of money. Mediocrity.
A lot of money are being lost right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. I guess we should probably touch on the other Sunday game then. Go on, Gary, get it over with.
Touch on it. I mean, it was a squeaky bum game. First half, we were all over them, 2-0, comfortable.
Yeah.
And then just stopped playing.
Right.
Yeah, not even a shot on target in the second half.
Just didn't do anything for the second half. It was just horrid. It was like, what's going on? Is that the nerves settled in, or is it? What was it? It was so weird to see, just like the cliche of a game of two halves. That was it. That was it right there. 2-0, cruising first half. Second half just couldn't hit the side of a barn door. Just couldn't pass. Couldn't get a foothold in the game.
For sure.
Was it the drama from the midweek game that kind of caught up with them, and emotions and exhaustion and whatever else? Don't know, but it was such a weird second half. But
I feel like
good teams do, or bad teams do, or whatever you want to call it, got out of there with the 3 points.
I feel like for you guys, though, it was probably just a case of needing that win. I mean, like you said, that midweek game against Everton, like I know I've already been over that, but kind of the high drama and stuff, that's probably a bit of a gut wrencher. Like, I know you're only getting a draw and not like a loss, so it's not the end of the world, but still, like having that win kind of snatched away from you, that's probably a bit of a kick in the teeth. Then obviously there's the Plymouth incident, which I feel like enough time has passed now. We should probably just move on. But
move on while we played our kids against the team that,
like exiting that competition and like you so eloquently put in the group chat, we're not doing the quadruple anymore. Imagine that being the downside of your season.
Imagine that, right?
Imagine.
Damn it.
But it sounds so genuinely upset. But yes, I mean, obviously it had been a week for Liverpool. So I feel like just escaping that with a win and getting things back on track, I feel like you'll take that, right? That it doesn't matter how you've done it.
That was
you've
it.
Got it done. That's
had to get the win. That's something, as you say, the debacle of messing around with the FA Cup, then that draw, and then it was like, I know you're right. I think everyone was like, "Oh, you had a chance to go 9 points clear, and you're only 7 points clear now." It's like, Yeah, but we're still 7 points clear.
Yeah, seven's not bad.
7's not bad, right? Let's not lose sight of the fact.
Don't let up.
No, exactly. So getting the 3 points at the weekend was important, especially Arsenal winning and everything else. Then pressure was on. So just to get the win, even ugly wins count just the same as pretty wins and winning 4-5-0.
Squeaky bum time.
It's getting to that stage now. A few more wins like that and a couple of losses to somebody else, the season could be done and dusted.
I mean, speaking of midweek games, Gary, you've got another one coming up in 2 days.
Beauty coming up.
That's a tough two fixtures, to be fair. For
two fixtures, these two fixtures could make a massive difference to the final sort of standings. I mean,
big time.
Away at Villa on Wednesday, which is a tough place to go, and Villa are. Villa are on that weird sort of game plan at the moment where
I mean, just like what their game against Ipswich Town, there's a red card in that game. They looked pretty good, but you could tell that they're still figuring it out. Rashford looks rejuvenized.
I know.
Look at his free kick.
I know. His free kick. He almost broke the crossbar.
Yeah.
My concern is he loves playing against Liverpool when he's on form. He usually tears us a new one every time he runs against us. And my concern is if he's suddenly found his mojo, he could be a real problem for us at a week on Wednesday.
I feel like Villa are kind of the scariest kind of opponent right now. They're a bit of a wild card. Like, you just have no idea.
Sorry, Michael. Another one of your watch podcasts. You have others? Excuse me? What's your exclusive?
He's like, no, not anymore.
Not anymore.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's young lad on the morning of his wedding. Yeah, spot on.
Totally. Knees had gone. Everything is like, what am I doing? It's exactly what we were like at the second half. So massive game on Wednesday, but then followed up on a massive game on Sunday as well. So
at the Etihad as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we go there and we win that, not only is that like statement win of putting City back in their place and whatever else, but it's the statement to the rest of the league and everybody else that okay, they're good enough to go to the Etihad and also get wins as well, rather than just bumbling through at Anfield and just getting through. So two massive fixtures this week.
Yeah, I feel like if you come out of these two fixtures with 4,
if we come out with 4 points,
I think 4 to 6. I mean, obviously ideally 6, but if you come out with like 4 after literally going Wednesday, Sunday, all Premier League games. So no like European games against a tiny team. Like, they're all Premier League games. If you can come out of that with a healthy points tally, I think then you have to look at it as like, okay, we're in a really good spot here.
And also the plus points for the Sunday game in a weird sort of way is that City have a massive game on Wednesday as well.
Oh, they've got Madrid, haven't they?
They've got to go to Madrid to overturn it. They've got to overturn.
Oh, yeah, they're down as well, aren't they? Yeah.
So City have got to go. They can't have an easy midweek European game. They've got to go full out. So plus points and whatever else. Hopefully that goes to extra time and hopefully plays until.
Yeah, you want whatever advantage you can get in that. Yeah, literally.
Absolutely. So massive two massive games for us coming up.
It's gonna be
what about your? Let's look. I mean, because West Ham could really do us a favour on Saturday as well.
God,
how you feeling, Ginny? You feeling generous?
Your guess is as good as mine. If I saw the lineup that we just did for, then we're gonna be in freaking trouble. No, I think this is going to be a tight game. It's a London derby again. There's a lot of. We always play top notch against Arsenal, but then we just always play bad in the second half. So it's like we're competitive and then we don't get competitive. I think it just really depends on what Potter's going to do with that lineup. Is he going to start Ferguson? Is Ward-Prowse going to start? I've heard a little bit of rumble of that.
Is Bowen due back yet?
So,
or is he still got this
Bowen's back and he's been doing pretty well. So
maybe he needs to stop sort of guest appearances on EastEnders and start focusing on his football though.
It's like Jamie Tart on Love Island.
That's exactly what it's like. He's got his head turned by starting on Watford.
That's hilarious.
That'll be a big one. If West Ham
it's gonna be a big one. There's no doubt in my mind that this is gonna be one of the biggest matches on Saturday. So
We're going to answer the age-old question: who is a better striker, Lucas Paqueta or Mikel Merino? This is the kind of
God, that's so tight. That's so tight too. Like that's so bad.
Defensive midfielder is the better striker.
Get out of here with your Erling Haalands and your Mo Salahs. This is what we want.
This is what it's all about.
That's so funny because when Paqueta's on his game, like he'll score 2 goals. So like,
yeah, but they'll be from 40 yards and they'll be I guess he'll miss the 4-yarder tap it.
I guess I just feel like other positions you can kind of like justify it. I feel like, normally he's more of a box-to-box midfielder, but this game he's just playing a bit more defensively. Like, okay, that's fine. Normally he's a centre back, but he's kind of quick, so we put him at full back, and we're like, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, normally he's like a holding midfielder, but we've just kind of chucked him up top. You're like, well, hang on.
Right. I just don't want to see Mavropanos.
No, I don't know if you saw it though, but his interview at the end of it, Marino's interview at the end of that game was like, "Yeah, it's the first time I've ever played up front. I've never played there before in my life."
It looks worryingly natural.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Right. Even the interviewer was like, well, "Not even as you were a kid," and he was like, "Maybe when I was 5," and it's just like, freaking hell. Is that how bad it's got? That's the kind of league season we're having where a defensive midfielder turns into like the striker that Arsenal never knew they needed.
Yeah, because Jesus.
What about Moyes? Yeah, and they're both out. Yeah, what about Moyes returning to United with Everton? That's got to be some sort of.
It's one of the biggest games. There's like 3.
If he takes Everton there and turns United over.
But I mean, the weirdest thing is, I don't even think it's controversial to say that I think Everton could get the job done, which is like.
But what if Moyes loses? That'd be hilarious to me.
Oh yeah, could you imagine it? Just like, I mean, he's turned that team around. Everyone's saying what a great job, and then he goes to United, and he suddenly turns into Old Trafford Moyes and goes like, oh.
Right. There's always going to be that thing over his head.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. What if, Amorim, who is the shiny new plaything, although I feel like that shine is...
I think he's tarnished now. That shine's gone, isn't it?
If he turns up to Old Trafford and gets beaten by the original guy who replaced the guy, whereas, United now have the guy who replaced the guy who replaced the guy who replaced the guy, and like, oh, here's the original guy who's doing probably a worse team and is beating us. So... I don't know. I feel like Man United just keep seeming to find more ways to find another basement that Rock Bottom apparently has, and they keep
scraping away at the bottom of that barrel.
They just keep going. Surely this is the end of the barrel. Oh no, there's more. Like they just keep going. They keep going.
I can see Moyes turning up there and Beto scoring 2, and Rocky out of United just being even more dire.
Everton, the informed team. United are certainly not.
They're in some type of form. I'm not sure what type of form it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, how do you feel about Saturday against Villa, Matty?
It's a toughie as well. I mean,
oh god, there are some beefy games, man. I mean, literally,
dude, there's some big games this weekend, bro.
Like I've already said, they've got Liverpool midweek, and then they've got us on Saturday, which that's not nearly as big of a game. I don't know. I feel like I've kind of reached that point again, which I feel like us and Villa are kind of the same in that I just have no idea what version of these teams are going to turn up. Like, I don't know. I feel like it could go either way. Like we could win this. We could equally get absolutely dominated, and I wouldn't be that surprised. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those games that I feel like is so. It depends.
That game depends a lot on what happens on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so. It's at Villa Park as well, which gives me even less confidence. Like that's a place to go. Yeah. I mean, I know
in Birmingham, it's gonna.
Yeah, and I know, like Villa won't have had that much rest after having a midweek game, but they're not going to have to worry about traveling. Which I know it's only like London to Birmingham. It's not the end of the world, but it's the small things, right? Like the Villa players are at home. They're comfy. It's the small things. I don't have a lot of confidence going into that, but like you said, it depends. If Villa get absolutely walloped on Wednesday, do you then think
they come back and stronger? It's like Man City and Liverpool. What Man City look good as right now?
Yeah. Who knows? Like it's right. I don't know. These are two such like wild
that Wednesday game in the Champions League with Man City, and then Asheville, Liverpool. That's all going to play a lot into this.
Yeah, I feel like so much is going to hinder on what happens on Wednesday. Yeah, big time.
All right, preview the scores and we'll wrap up.
Let's run through the scores. Right, Friday game. Let's have a quick look. Leicester against Brentford. Brentford win that 2-0.
Yeah, Brentford.
I agree. 2-0.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because Leicester have just played a great game against Arsenal. Probably won't be up for the Brentford game as much, and they'll end up getting rolled.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
All right.
Yeah.
Everton, Man United, 2-0
You know
the
what?
Blues.
God, I hate saying this. It just sucks for me to say it, but I think Moyes is going to do it.
Me too.
Moisey.
2-0. I think it's going to be 2-0, and they're going to give him a welcome back home. Maybe.
The returning hero. Everyone will be like hammering out Moyes back.
Right. No, that ain't ever happening.
That's not happening. Come on, Matty, what are you going with?
I'll go 2-1. I think he'll be close. I think United scrape a goal back, but I think Everton will do it. And I feel like now all three of us have backed it. It's obviously not going to happen.
United will win 4-0 now.
Yeah, they're going to crush it now.
Like literally, like we've said, Everton are just the informed team. They just keep getting it done, and United are just honking right now.
They can't. It's not a team. It's just a bunch of people who.
It is a bunch of people. Literally, that's how it looks right now. So yeah, I think Everton get it done. Bournemouth Wolves.
You got to be looking at a Bournemouth win there.
I feel like Wolves will find some heartbreaking way to lose that game, like they do every single week.
Wolves will go 2 up and somehow lose 3-2 or something. But that Bournemouth midfield is absolutely flying in terms of scoring goals and whatever else at the moment. Got a lead towards Bournemouth. They are in form.
Yeah.
But as you say, probably 2-1 after letting in the 95th minute goal for Wolves. Because
it's just going to be a typical Wolves game. Mateus Cunha will look absolutely unreal, and they will.
He's the only lifeline for them right now, anyway. So
literally, they kept hold of him in January. We said that was going to be the biggest thing, and they've done it. And I think that's probably what sets them apart from the 3 teams below them. Personally,
but as you say, he'll have an outstanding game, score 2 goals, but they'll lose 3-2.
Yeah, he'll look incredible and they'll lose. Yeah,
right. No, I seriously think it is going to be. I seriously think it's going to be 3-2 Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Come on in. London derby, call it.
Fucking hell. I think depending on
saying that there are 2 London derbies. I could have been talking about Fulham.
No, I'm going to be straight up honest. I think it just really depends on the lineup with both these teams because it's getting
get off the fence, man. Give us a result.
Shut up! It means a lot to me that I beat Arsenal. 2-1 Arsenal.
Oh, that must have hurt you saying that. Oh,
well, yeah, you told me to get off the frickin' wagon.
Get off the frickin' fence. Stop sitting on the fence, getting splinters at your backside.
It's already there.
I reckon West Ham get a draw out of that.
Really?
I reckon you find a way. I reckon you find a way to. I don't know if you find a way to get the draw, but you find a way to stunt Arsenal rather than take the game to them in a weird way. I think you know.
Man, my group chat's going to be so interesting if that happens.
Yeah, I feel like this is just my Arsenal hater coming out, but I really think I feel like West Ham will get a draw on that. But
I hate Arsenal with everything, but I still think it's going to be 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, it's hard to see past Arsenal because I feel like they've hit that point now where you're like, oh well, this is going to derail them. And then they put Merino up front and he scores 2, and you're like, crap. Like, you know what I mean? They just seem to kind of
find ways, don't they?
Every time you think unpredictable team in the Premier League right now,
and every time you think they're done, they just find.
Sod's Law State's Declan Rice scores the winner in the 93rd minute, right?
Oh, good God! Don't say that. Oh my God!
It just suddenly thought they just suddenly just had that flash of like, oh, it's going to happen, isn't it?
If that happens,
or it's an own goal and Declan Rice scores the own goal to give you the draw.
Jeez. Okay, moving on.
The other London derby, Fulham Crystal Palace. This is a weird one because Palace have been so underwhelming all season. I think every time we talk about Palace, we're like, oh, they must be really bad, but they're mid-table mediocrity.
Get off the fence. Come on.
They're 13.
Oh,
they're
just doing
typical Palace stuff. Yeah.
No, I think Fulham. If Fulham play the way they did this weekend, Fulham roll Palace
2-1.
No, I don't think even Palace get a goal.
No, I believe in them. I think they'll get 2-1 Fulham.
I'm gonna go for a whiffy 0-0 draw. I can smell it.
Ouch.
It's gonna be an absolute. It's gonna be a whiffer.
Fair enough. I got 2-0 Fulham. If you're talking about a whiffer, Ipswich Tottenham.
Do you know what,
bruh?
I predicted it once
Say
this
it.
season and it came
Say
off.
it,
It's
Matty.
happening again. Ipswich are doing the double over Tottenham.
Yes! There it is.
I'm going for a tie.
Tottenham do Tottenham things. They beat Man United.
Lose to Ipswich. I'm telling you, it happened once. It can happen again.
That's hilarious.
Lightning does strike twice.
Come on.
1-1 tie for me, gentlemen. 1-1.
Come on, Ipswich. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's hilarious.
Ipswich are fighting tooth and nail, and Tottenham's defense is shocking.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
I reckon Delap gets the winner there, 1-0 Ipswich.
How crazy!
Yeah,
he's going to be on some big team next year too. It's going.
He's got to be. He's either got to be back at City or City making millions off of selling him, because he's lighting it up even with a really bad team around.
Yeah, he has been incredible.
Southampton, Brighton.
No, Brighton. No, comfortable. 3-0.
Brighton, comfortable.
3-0. That's comfortable.
Southampton are just get the season done by now, right? Just finish it off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
they've beaten Derby's record, so at least they've got that. They've scored more points than Derby.
They're fighting for nothing. They're fighting for nothing.
Nothing to fight for. Brighton will probably lose that 2-0.
Gary, I don't want to be that guy. They have not beaten Derby's points tally.
Really? Derby got 11.
11.
Oh, damn.
I mean, to be fair, they've got 13 games left to get 3 points. But
I hate that.
I just feel like when you read stat lines like played 25, won 2, drawn 3.
I'm just basing off of form. But I agree with you, though. I do understand that. I'm just basing off form for me.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely going to say Brighton are going to win this game. But
that's a great stat line, Matty. That's a great one.
Surely they don't go worse than that.
Dude, Gary's face. Someone take a screenshot. He just looks like he just constantly.
Yeah, that's a thumbnail right there. Surely Southampton cannot lose that record. You can't.
Wow. That Derby team was dreadful.
What is happening?
Because I know I've said this on the show before, but even if you took a League One team like Wickham and chucked them in the Premier League for a season, are you telling me they would not somehow shithouse their way to 4 wins in an entire season?
4 wins, or even 3 wins and a couple of draws or something.
That's what I mean. 11 points is so bad.
Yeah, that's bad. But then again, that's Southampton doing what I just said. Come up from the Championship. Hey, we played pretty football in the Championship.
Oh, I hate that.
And have not changed anything, thinking they
part of me did kind of rate Russell Martin for just being like, no, we're going to play this way, and this is it. And it's like, we're going to batter everyone. Wait, what do you mean we're the ones getting battered? No, it'll turn around.
Turn around.
Yeah, kind of rated.
And that's the problem. And then, I can't see them. I can't believe they haven't beat Derby yet. Wow. That's gonna run until the end of the season.
Like 13 games left is more than enough to do it. But when you look at how few points they've picked up in the first 25, what hope do you have that it's going to happen? Like, do you know what I mean? It's rough.
Yeah.
And then if they're playing teams who like Ipswich and Leicester in and around them, those teams are not going to give up the points easily, because that's where you got to think where they'll score their points, but they're not going to.
I feel like kind of weirdly you want to be playing those teams like Palace later on in the season that kind of get to that point where they have nothing to play for, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be playing a fellow relegation team. You kind of do,
or a team in the top 4, do you? You don't want that. You want that team that's like,
you kind of want those middle nothing.
Yeah, Tottenham
teams,
Man United,
absolutely
those teams. Yeah, teams that have got goal to play for.
Kind of making a double prediction here, but I think Liverpool beat Villa on Wednesday, which means Villa are out for blood on Saturday. So I think Chelsea lose. I think we're going to lose quite comfortably. I don't have faith in Chelsea. I think 3-1 Villa.
I'm with them. No, I'm with them. That's what I was going to say.
I think so.
again, I've gone for a double prediction, which probably means both of them are going to be wrong. But I have no faith in this Chelsea team right now. Like they scare me. I feel like we started the season so well, and it papered over a lot of cracks, and I feel like it's coming back in. We're still here.
Commercial.
So yeah, I think Villa get the job done probably fairly comfortable here, because I think the worrying thing about this Chelsea team now is you're seeing someone like Cole Palmer's output is dropping, and he is starting to look very frustrated. Yeah. And like with what he's got around him, you absolutely cannot blame him.
You can't blame him. It's only
a touch annoyed, considering like how good he has been for us and how genuinely dreadful we still are. Like, that must be quite annoying.
At some point, he's going to look around and go, "Why am I even bothering?"
Yeah. Okay, guys, come on. I have taken one day off. There needs to be someone else that can at least try.
Right.
So yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Villa I do think Liverpool probably beat them like 1-0 midweek, take a 1-0 win. Happy, yeah. But then Villa will be, wounded, out for blood, and probably, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
Chelsea roll up on a Saturday evening after all the Brummie fans are absolutely lashed up into a hostile environment and probably get turned over.
Yeah, that must be a fun one to walk into. Some tasty games on the Sunday. Newcastle Forest.
That's like a top of the table clash,
That's an interesting game,
I'm European connotations on that one.
Hey, look, I think Wood's doing a fantastic job bailing them out.
Unreal.
But I think overall, this is going to still be a 2-2 tie. In my personal opinion.
Okay.
Because I think it's not only a top of the table team. I think Eastak's going to come back. I think Wood's going to get a goal.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like it screams a tie for me.
I don't know. That Newcastle defense looked shocking against City. They can't play that badly again, can they?
I think they bounce back.
If a team's going to expose defensive frailties, it's Forest with Chris Woods up top, because he's not going to give those defenders a minute apiece.
Oh yeah.
So I can see a tie, but I can also, it's Forest. You could see them hammering Newcastle 4-0 or getting battered 5-0.
Yeah, or
drawing 1-0.
If Newcastle are that wounded animal after that City game, they could come out swinging, like we've shown with Forest. Forest have the ability to batter someone 7-0, and they have the ability to get battered 5-0. Yeah. It's very, like we said this whole show, the league is so unpredictable this year, which is why we're predicting it, because we like looking stupid.
Yeah, pretty much. Losing millions of dollars too. So
I feel like the fact is that St. James's Park might play into this, because I feel like Newcastle did get walloped by City. But if there's one fan base that, after all they have tolerated, is not going to tolerate that big of a drop off, I would imagine it would be the Toon Army at St. James's Park. I feel like that's going to carry them to this. I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle, but I think it's going to be close. Like, this is going to be like a hotly contested match that I don't think either of them are going to want to lose. Like you said, Gary, considering what's around them, this could have such big connotations for that push for Champions League, especially with potentially
Europe and stuff.
Yeah, so like presuming that England is going to have the 5 spots, and it's close with Spain, but assuming that is the case, this is a big game for both teams. Big time.
I agree. 2-2 tie, so stand by it.
Yeah, no, fair. It could literally swing anyway, this game.
As I say, it could be a big win for Newcastle, a big win for Forest, or a 1-1 draw. It's got every available thing, and it's an unusual game wherever you can. Yeah, this game's also.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. It depends on what you guys do in Europe in the middle of the week, and then I can, whatever happens with that, I can still see this game being a 3-3 tie.
Oh, expensive.
No, because it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be. I really think
goals in it. There will be goals in this game. Yeah,
I think 3-3. Gary and Matty's faces right now.
It's like.
It's just so stressful, because I feel like we said, so much pins on like Wednesday.
We're totally shooting in the dark here. It's like, I think okay, maybe this is my Liverpool bias and favouritism hat coming through, but I think City lose to Real on Wednesday.
Okay.
And the heartbreak of going out of the Champions League again, not winning the Champions League again, means that they come out on Sunday and turn us over in a bad way.
Oh, that is not the way I was expecting you to go with that.
Wait, what's the last
So you think City get the job done here? You think they do you on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they lose midweek, and because they lose midweek, they go, right, all or nothing on the league now. We've got to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
God, that is not the way I was expecting you to go with that.
I was not expecting that either.
I'm doing a reverse psychology. That's what I'm thinking, man.
So you're playing Matty's favorite.
Yeah.
Matty's favorite stuff.
Yeah, to be fair, it's worked great for me, mate. You'll be fine.
Go back to any of Matty's predictions. He's always gone.
Literally every single one. I don't think any of them. I don't think any of them will haunt me quite as bad as saying the Ipswich Tottenham was a belter, but that is papering over a lot. I don't think anything will haunt me as bad as saying the Chargers are going to win the Super Bowl, but that's a different show.
Oh, for heart's sake, Matty.
Yeah, listen. They went on to finish bottom of the division. I was so happy to be so incredibly wrong. I think I absolutely nailed that.
Killed that one. Go on, mate.
I feel like, again, double prediction here, and I'm sticking with what I said earlier. I do think Liverpool will beat Villa on Wednesday. I don't know what happens with City in the Champions League. I think that's going to be a frantic game against Real Madrid.
Facts.
But I think I said earlier that I think Liverpool will be happy if they finish these two games with 4 points, and I stand by that. I think this ends in a draw. I still think there's going to be goals. I'm feeling maybe like a 2-2. I think this is going to be a hotly contested game, but I stand by it. I think Liverpool look at these two games and think if we can finish that with 4 points, we're happy. That's a good position. And I think, and again, not that I'm saying like you guys play for the draw, but I feel like that's just how this works out. Like, I don't have full faith that like City are 100% back. I'm not willing to just chuck that straight on them. Like, I think they've made some good signings and they've definitely made progress from where they were, but I don't think this team is fully back yet. And I think this could be a game that Liverpool look at and think we could really go for the jugular here, but if we can just walk out of here with a draw, then we're pretty happy. Yeah. So I'm feeling goals. I agree with you guys, but I think 2-2.
I still go 3-3. I still go 3-3.
Yeah, no, just say, so, if Liverpool do win midweek, there's a 10-point gap. So again, they go then to the Etihad and go.
Bro, imagine if they both lose. Bro, that's gonna be.
That's what I was thinking.
It's like, even better.
Yeah, what if City get knocked out of the Champions League, wounded animal? But then what if
Liverpool doesn't show up in the second half like they haven't been doing the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, then what if you've got two teams that are like, we need a win? That could be.
That could happen too.
Then it could be a proper belter.
This could be.
But the thing is, the City-Liverpool games for the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, they're always unreal.
Absolute belters. For one way or the other, either like arm wrestle 3-3 draws, or City beat us 4-1, or we beat them 3-0. You know, it's like massive games.
Timing is everything, though, Gary. Timing's everything.
This one is no exception, especially when it's landed, as you say, after the FA Cup, us going out the Cup, City being in this mad playoff Champions League thing that they've got themselves into. There's all sorts of connotations. This is such a massive game. Everyone's going to be watching it.
No, they're always big games, and it's always when I feel like the biggest players put in the best performances. Like I remember a couple of years ago watching this game, and I just remember I can't remember what year it was, I'm not going to lie, but I remember Mo Salah just dribbling through like 4 City defenders and then just belting it to like bring Liverpool back level. And you just think like those are just the moments that like, yeah, that player that's a serious footballer. Like that's the kind of guy that's like, right, fine, I'll do it myself. Like, you know, to like quote Thanos, just, you know what, fine, I'll do it myself. So yeah, regardless of the result, I am buzzing for this game. Like this is a game that I think whether you support either team or you're a totally neutral fan, that is a game of football you get excited about. Period.
I think the most watched five. I honestly think the most watched 5 games this weekend is going to be West Ham versus Arsenal, Everton versus Man United, Villa versus Chelsea, Forest versus Newcastle, and definitely Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah, there are some
definitely
big games this week. There are some big games.
Those are definitely the 5 games.
Okay. One big thing I just had a quick look at. Arne Slot will be in the dugout for both those games. His suspension won't kick in until after, because we've got until Wednesday to respond to it, which then gives us, we'll respond to it and kind of question it, which gives them 10 days so we can get to play these games. So
that's probably quite a big factor, actually.
That's quite a big factor.
Big, yeah.
Curtis Jones not being around, not quite so big, but he has been quite a handy sub to throw on every now and again. But
yeah, it's not the end of the world, but probably still not what you want to hear. But yeah, having Slot on the sideline, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for sure.
So that might sway one of those results.
Boys, I cannot honestly. The conversation we're going to have next week is
it is going to be red hot next time.
This is an exciting week of football, boys.
After this, we could have. I think a lot of things will have shaken out in terms of this week. If I don't know, look, Liverpool go and win both those games, 6 points. Arsenal lose to West Ham. That gap suddenly goes from 7 to 13.
Yeah, with what? Then that would be only 11 games left. Yeah, that's huge. That's
a big overrun. Suddenly it's massive conversations next Monday.
Yeah, definitely.
So of course we won't be around, and we'll miss that week. And
No,
probably.
No. Come on, boys. That's not the attitude. Come on now.
No.
Come on now.
Boys, an hour and 20 minutes flown by. Yeah. This has been cathartic. This has been therapy. Catching up with you boys, talking about this.
I love you guys. I'm ready to get hurt again, as always.
There we go. Too soon to drop that in there, boys. It's been great. We'll next week, as you say, next week's conversation is going to be red hot with these games that we've just predicted. God, somebody's going to have to go back and work out just how badly we scored on those predictions as well, because
so much
hideous, so much pain,
slow painful.
Michael in the chat, appreciate you, Tom. Congratulations Michael, on the win tonight. Thanks for joining in. Matty, Gino, love you, man. Love you guys. Great to see you. And we will be back next week.
Love you guys.
For Let the Mayhem Begin.
Ugh.
And as Gino will let you know, he is ready to get hurt again.
Stupid.
Welcome to Let the Mayhem Begin with myself, Groovy. Got Italy Jet Gino in the house. We got Matty.
Story of the season. It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written. Brilliant response. Liverpool lead early in the Champions League final.
And he's in behind with Igor giving chase to the shadow off his line. In the 90th minute.
I'm ready to get hurt again.